and contracting with khaki. You call it khaki or CACI? I don't even know. I never
Oh,
know what.
the verdict's out. If you're an internal person, you're only allowed to say CACI, but
Oh,
everybody
I
else
didn't know
calls it
that.
khaki.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to call it khaki. So khaki, for those of you who don't know, I think is the number one defense contractor in the world. So she had a long career there and did a bunch of other stuff, and now she's off on her own, and she has started this. I'm going to let her better explain it, but of like a fractional staffing type company. So we're actually, the reason we met is because I'm looking for um, a fractional financial officer. So someone to help us with everything finance here at Seven Eagle. And I didn't want to hire somebody full time. We're not big enough for that. But Stephanie has an expert team of people with all these different specialties. So we engage with her and then she does that work for us. So I get a really qualified person for only a portion of the price because she's only working part-time or few hours, not full-time hours. But I wanted, and one thing I was telling Stephanie this example that really impressed me that she did the other day, because she's trying to sell me on her service, and I'm on the receiving end of a lot of sales pitches from vendors and stuff. And what she did the other day to me was so impressive. And this goes along the line with like standing out and being different. Most sales reps will give you a pitch and say, Hey, you want to buy? Hey, you want to buy? What do I have to get you to do to buy today? Right. I had one person today tell me our quota, I get more money if you guys sign up with us by tomorrow because it's the end of the month. Can you please sign up tomorrow by tomorrow? I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so what Stephanie did was instead of sending me her offer right away, is she did a post about Seven Eagle Group and encouraging her network of business owners to come check out what we're doing and to hire vets from us. And I said to her, I go, why'd you do that? She goes, oh, I wanted to get you a win before I reached out to you and asked you to, um, come be a customer of ours. I just thought that was so cool. And it's the reason why I'm working with her and so smart. And anyway, Stephanie, welcome for that.
Thanks, Jordy. Thank you.
Tell
First, I
everyone,
gosh,
tell
I'm
everyone a
so
little bit about yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
um I want to say first, thank you to everyone on the call for your service. I am a huge supporter of our military and veterans, family members, friends, have best friends that are military spouses, and I am very grateful for all that you do. And I'm here to help support Jordy because I want to help each of you find the next phase of your life be pleasant, successful, fulfilling, and all the life that you deserve in your next phase. So thank you. Where do I begin? So I've been a serial entrepreneur all my life, and I think as I was thinking about what I would talk to you today about, if there's going to be people that have an entrepreneurial mindset and people that really want to fit into a very structured environment, but talking to you about how you make that decision as you go through this process and look for jobs. My all of my parents, and I say all because I had divorced parents, so there was lots of them. Everybody was an entrepreneur. I grew up in small business. I've been working since I was 14. I don't really know how to do anything but work. And I think that's really why I offered what I did to Jordy or made that post for him, because I have been a small business owner and I know what it takes to grind it out and make a small business work. And I really thought, I just want to help him get a win. I want you guys to have a win before I ask him to spend money. I have no doubt in the confidence in the value that I can bring forward, but let's just help get him a win. And that's going to make it a lot easier to swallow. So, and I don't do the finances. I can put good people in place, but you don't want me doing books. Anyway, so I want to before I go into the little spiel that I wrote up, and Jordy, if anybody throws any questions in there, just let me know, and I'm happy to answer. But I totally agree with what Jordy said in terms of um, making yourself stand out when you apply, because I posted a job recently. I had 400 resumes in 20 hours. the volume of resumes that people are getting in. And if you are applying to small businesses, they don't typically have automated systems or not well configured automated systems. And so that means it's a very manual process to go through. So, as a person who has read thousands and thousands and thousands of resumes in her career, I would suggest to you that that in order to stand out, you could do two things that I know of, and that is double, triple, quadruple check it to make sure that it doesn't have errors and typos. And errors and typos also has to do with formatting. You want it to look presentable because if it's hard for the person to read, they're going to push it aside. It needs to be easy to read, very clear what your skills and strengths and abilities are. And in terms of errors, while there is this philosophy that, the 20/80 Pareto rule says it's good enough, in terms of a resume that is a static document, you have every opportunity to correct it and make it perfect. It does show your level of attention to detail and quality if it has mistakes. So tighten that up if you can. And so I guess I jumped right into that. I went from being a small business owner, as Jordy said, into government contracting for 10 years at two different companies. I also worked for a software development company. And then 2 years ago, personally, I decided I was just done with corporate. And what I really, really love to do is run small businesses. And that's my passion. And so that's really kind of the way I wanted to structure this conversation that I have for you guys today is you're trying to figure out what you want to do for work. And I'm going to be 55. And so I do have the privilege at this point in my life to say, I'm not doing anything I don't want to do. I don't know how much time is left. And I want to enjoy the people I work with and I want to enjoy what I do. And for so much of my life, and maybe even for some of you in the military, you did what you needed to do to get by, to have a salary, to make ends meet, whatever it is. Well, you now have a choice. You have a choice to do something that you love, and I encourage you to find what you love. Now, if you love singing like me, but you can't sing like me, don't go try and be a singer. I'm not saying you should only do what you love because people actually hold their ears when they hear me sing. So you got to have an alignment between what you love to do and what your skills and abilities are to do. And that's really difficult for some folks to zero in, but really think about it. Where am I good? Where do people give me compliments? What do I know I can do? And match those up, what you love and what you're going to do. And that's what I did when I opened this last small business. I love starting small businesses. I love helping small businesses be successful. I used to be a field hockey player and a track runner many, many decades ago. But that win, that competitive athletic win, is still that desire to win, I should say, is still in me. And when I help a small business gain their achievements, that feels like a win. And I like do this big happy dance. I jump around and, it feels super good. So you want to find where what you love and your skills abilities are a match. And like I said, don't go sing if you can't sing. So find what that is. The next thing that I think is super duper important is do not let fear stand in your way. Now, you guys are probably the bravest people that I will ever meet for all the things that you've done and seen. But the thing is, we have this naysayer in our head about our skills and abilities and what we can do and we can not do. And then we've got some people in our life that are naysayers or that are risk averse and like, hey, don't try that, man. Just stick with what you know and don't do that because you don't know if it's going to work out. Nothing good comes easy. And if you want something that you love, that you know that you're good at, then go for it because that's where the goodness in getting your next job is. I promise. And you got to just let the negative talk go away because I just read this again and I've seen this quote, and Jordy, maybe you've seen it over and over and over. People on their deathbed say that what they regret is not going for the things that they wanted. Their regrets are no one ever regrets trying things. There are more regrets about not doing the things that they wanted to do. So go for that. And then when you're in that workplace, what you choose, and this goes back to what Jordy was saying about standing out. Um, I call standing out in the workplace standing in the gap. I'm actually writing a book called Owner Mindset. And I think that this concept of standing in the gap, it's also a biblical term. I'm not very religious, but it is a biblical term. And it's for me, it's there's a problem and there's a solution, but there's nobody in the middle that's bridging the gap between that. And it's because in the workplace, somebody says, that's not my job, or um, I don't, I don't know. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, or I don't feel like doing it, or whatever the case may be. And you guys come from a very structured, tiered environment where everyone has pretty defined jobs and roles and responsibilities. So this is going to be a little bit of a mindset shift. But when you go into the workplace, I want you to think about raising your hand and saying, hey, I know that's not my job, but I have the skills and abilities and the interest in doing that. And I know it's in the best interest of the company. So I can take that on. And you volunteer, and you're going to volunteer to take things on because it's going to teach you something. It's going to help you learn. It's going to help you grow. It's going to make you more valuable to the organization. Every set of skills that you bring on and do. And I call that again the stand in the gap. I'll give you another example of a really great way to vision this. If you're walking down the hall, and again, you guys are often so disciplined, maybe nobody walks down the what do you call that kitchen thing? I always forget. What do you call it where you eat? Somebody holler. What do you call what do you call
The chow hall?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you're walking down the chow hall. Sorry, I need more coffee. Walking through the chow hall, and there's a piece of garbage in the floor in front of you, but it's not your piece of garbage. Are you person A that walks past it because it's not your garbage, or are you person B that picks it up because it's not supposed to be there? Because that's not the way you want your place to look, because that's not you don't want somebody to trip on it, because you take pride in the place that you are in. Be person B. Be the person that picks up the garbage, and picks up the garbage in the analogy of a workspace is, I'm going to do this task because nobody else wants to do it, because it needs to be done and it's in the best interest of the company. It's in the best interest of me because I learn and grow. That's stand in the gap. And I assure you, I think that I knew this stand in the gap methodology because I've been a business owner. And when you're a business owner, a small business owner in particular, you clean the toilet, you take out the trash, you go to the bank, you help the customers, you do the quotes, you do everything. You do everything that needs to be done to get the job done. And it's not a, that's not my job. It's this is what needs to be done for the company. And so I think that I learned that by being in an entrepreneurial environment my whole life. But I can tell you, when I went from owning my own small business with my husband for 24-ish years, that's when I went into government contracting, and we decided we didn't want our financial eggs all in one basket. So I left. I had the opportunity to go to CACI, and I was really successful. Over like the 12-year period that I was out there, I had something like 7 raises. I increased my salary by $100,000. And I'm a person who barely graduated from college. Terrible student. But what I do have is grit, and I give 150% in everything I do, and I stand in the gap. And I think because of that, I was able to find great success in the corporate space, because my bosses just wanted somebody that they could rely on, that was going to get the job done. And I've even had managers say to me, you're the only person I never need to look back over my shoulder and see, did it get done? It just got done. And that is, again, another mindset that you guys, I see this because I was in government contracting. I worked with lots of veterans and former military. It's a big mindset shift. And Jordy, you probably talk about this, but the normal population in the corporate space outside of the military does not have the sense of accountability that you guys do. And you're going to have lots of peers out there that are not going to perform as expected, and they're going to get away with it. And you're going to be like, oh my God, you're not going to the brig. You didn't get in trouble. You didn't get anything. Nothing happened to you, and you didn't do your job. It's very common, and it's super frustrating. So you need to just keep your head to the grindstone, keep doing your job, stand in the gap and fill that. And guess what? When it's time for transition to jobs and somebody needs work, you've got extra skills and abilities that you learned. So I would say stand in the gap. And then the other biggest thing that I learned is about developing relationships, networking, making connections. I'm sure that Jordy talks to you about this, but throughout my life, while I've been successful in many of the instances, it's about who you know. It's about making connections. It's about reaching out to people. It's asking for mentors. Um, it's also offering to help other people because you never really know. Every single job that I have gotten, it's because someone put in a good word for me after I've applied and they've said, "Hey, could you do this? Could you do that?" Um, and or they saw me work and they were able to recommend me. And I think that's really important. And I find that even now as a small business owner, it's a lot about
Había empezado un
relationships.
poco claro de que la comida, que yo le dije, ay, te esperemos un poco
Um,
de ejercicios, pero
so,
yo pensaba era
Figure out whoever
contratada
that
de ella
is.
también.
sorry,
Pero cuando estaba
Hold
en
on,
el
I gotta
parque,
figure out who that is. All right, I think she
I
got
could holler at him.
it. It's fixed. Go ahead.
So I kind of touched on it, but I just want to say this again, as you look at the workplace, a small business that is younger and smaller might be very entrepreneurial mindseted. They're not going to be very organized in their systems process and everything like that. Um, More mature businesses are going to have a greater level of structure and organization and chain of command. So you really want to, while you look at what you love to do in your skills and abilities, I think you also want to spend some time about where you want to have where you're comfortable being, because some people are not comfortable being in a place that is more organized. Personally, I love it because that's where I shine. I shine in disorganization because I go in there and I fix it all up, and I have been called the fixer. And so to me, a mess means I got nowhere to go but up. I even got a promotion one time because the person they offered to at first said no. Why would I take on that mess of a department? I was like, there is nowhere to go but up. It's like anything I do is better than the way it is right now. So take it. And I got the promotion because she didn't. But think about whether you want structure or entrepreneurial as you kind of look out there for the jobs. And I think that's all I wrote down to talk to you about today. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to give any advice to anybody about their job search or moving forward. I'm working with Jordy about other companies
That was
coming in as partners. So let me
that
know
was
how I can help.
awesome. You are such a good public speaker. Can you guys see why
Oh,
she's so successful in her career? Like, look at her energy and her passion and her excitement. And that was so awesome. I'm so glad you did that. Shaquan, go ahead, bud.
thanks.
Wow,
Hi.
Stephanie, that was incredible. I
Thank you.
believe, I like the thing that I love the most about when you spoke, it was very heartfelt. Like we felt how you were speaking directly from the heart and like just sitting back and listening and taking it all in. It was amazing. So
Thank you for saying that.
so my question is like throughout your journey, were there like any type of books that you read to help you along that journey? Because I know that you stated about education wise that wasn't really your route, so you had to find something else to grow and develop. And like what
Yeah.
incorporated to this like mindset shift, because it's actually a really big shift to think in this type of way.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. I have to take my earbuds out. I'm gonna reach those two books over on my bookshelf. Hold on, and I will tell you. Hold on.
Good stuff. All right, Jessica, you go next when she's done talking.
Well, actually, I grabbed three books. The truth is that I was a terrible student. I probably didn't read my first book until 10th grade, and it was The Great Gatsby, and I had a great English teacher. But it's those amazing teachers out there that actually help people like me with ADHD learn and get through it. But I hated school. In most of my career, I've never had time to read. Maybe if I got a few days away at the beach on vacation, I might read some crappy romance novel. But other than that, the the reading that I've been able to do has come in the last few years owning my own small business, and really there was actually about a 3 month period between my last employer and starting my own business where I wrote two books in 2020 and published them in 2024 because I had time and space and energy to be creative for the first time in 30 years. And that was like amazing. I had no idea that my brain could even do that, but I did read in the last couple of years getting ready, and I would say this book, I don't know if you can see, it's called Cues. No, gosh,
And
I hate
Edwards, I know her.
there.
That's a great book,
Okay,
Van Edwards.
Vanessa Van Edwards. It's
Yeah,
called
really good.
Cues. It talks,
I'll
and
put it
any
up.
of you guys have ever, been done your specialty stuff in espionage or everything, it's all about reading body language, tone of voice, how you do your sentences. This helps me a lot. I'm being super genuine with you. I'm not being formal. I'm not, and that's really where I'm most comfortable because I'm kind of a spaz and I have a lisp and blah blah. But I do have to speak on stage sometimes in front of really large groups of people that are staring me in business suits, and I feel like I have to be a little bit more formal and stuff like that. And this book about cues not only helps me speak, but helps me read my audience. So I need to be able to know, are they responding to what I'm saying? You guys are like little boxes on my computer, and some of you are looking at me and smiling, some of you are. But in a general room, you can read body language and it kind of guides you about how you're going to manage the rest of the conversation. I thought this was a super valuable book, and it's got a whole bunch of science-based things. I'll give you an example. So this book would say, for example, that my computer screen should be about an arm's width away from the monitor, that this spacing that's around my head is what is comfortable for you. If I'm up here like this, that's like being in someone's comfort zone in person and like too close talking. And so it kind of just teaches you all those little tips and tricks like that. So if you're going to have an interview, you're not like way back here and too small, and you're not up way close so that people can, feel trustworthy, like they like you. So that book was amazing. The book Range, Range, by a guy named David Epstein. He's actually was a sports news writer. The subtitle of the book that was a New York Times bestseller is Why Generalists Triumph in a Specialized World. So the reason I recommended that you kind of let your naysayer thoughts and people in your life kind of go to the wayside is because I was that person. I have held myself back from doing so many things in my life because of my own insecurities about my lisp and my ADD and all of those things. Well, now like I said, I'm going to be 55 and I can say words that I won't say in front of you on here because I don't really care. I'm just going to be myself now because again, it just takes too much energy to be somebody that I'm not. And I feared that. So I have been this hardworking person, just grinding it out all my life. This book taught me that even though I didn't have a master's and I was a terrible student, that this variety of experiences that I've had in my own small business, in government contracting, in all the different departments actually made me more valuable. There's this concept that someone needs to have super great depth in their field, and certainly you do. If you're going to be a sharpshooter, obviously you've got to put in the hours to be that amazing, right? But if you're working in an office and you can learn how to do the quality stuff, and you can learn how to do procurement, and you can learn how to do recruiting, and you can learn breadth instead of depth, then also can be very valuable. It's not always about depth. Of course, when you're looking for like a surgeon or something, you do want. So it depends on the skill, the role that you're in. But this particular book Range gave me the courage to say, I have value. I've got a ton of skills and experience. And you guys, I meant to tell you, I looked up this stat for you. 11% of Americans have never been out of the state that they're in. And I know that that doesn't sound like a huge number, but what it made me think of and what I was thinking of is the minority that you are. And I think I also wrote down something like 6 or 7% of Americans are go into the military or vets. Don't quote me on that because I was using Chat GPT and sometimes it lies or make stuff up. But the point is that you guys are unique. You have skills and abilities and experiences that so many Americans will never have. It has helped you travel and see parts of the world and parts of the country that no one will ever get. That is a value that you bring to the table. So take advantage of that. And thank you again for what you do. And then the third book is Mindset, changing the way you think to fulfill your potential. I always grew up with my mom saying to me, if you can't change something, you change your mind about it. She grew up in an abusive home, and that was how she survived. But the concept of this book and mindset is really about mind over matter, and kind of ties in with that. Just go for, what you want to go for. So Shaquan, I know this is a really long answer, but those three books have been profound in me continuing to learn and grow, to kind of have a happy work life, for the rest of my life.
That's great. Thanks, Shaquan. Thank you for those. And thanks, Lauren, for putting the books on the chat.
Thank you.
Jessica, did you put your hand down? I don't know if she still wanted to go, but well,
Yes, I'm still here. You
you're
hear
still
me?
here. Go ahead.
Hi, Jessica.
Yes. Hi, thanks. Also, congrats on writing a book, especially you not being a reader, something you found to get into. Congrats on that. And ready to turn out 180. And then also thanks for your support and your time here and just wanting to see people win. I love that. And it's really that you're genuine and authentic about it. That's why your energy and your light is just really bright. So thank you for
Thank
being
you.
you and not giving an F
Thanks.
and being you now.
Thank
So
you.
so what you said something earlier and it made me think like, okay, I used to take that as a compliment of, you know what, just give it a bucket, it'll get done. Like that burnt me out, and I really feel like you get taken advantage of, but then you don't feel appreciated. So now I'm just like a workhorse, which I know we all are to some extent, but it's kind of like, what do you do whenever, like now, like I don't want to be that person at all. Like I just want to do my little basic 9 to 5 job. I don't want to get no calls later. I don't want to answer it. Like I just want to know what I'm supposed to do it, bye y'all, and be done. Like that's it. Like I don't, and I made a mistake of saying I don't want to shine bright because I kind of can't. Um, I try to, and I can't, and then I get mad at myself. So how have you ever been in like that type of rut, and how did you get over it? Because I don't want to dim my light. Nobody should ever want to dim their light. But I really want to just be like, bro, I'm not here. I'm non-existent. Put me on the island by myself for a couple of months or a couple of years. I think I would be okay.
I have been there. Because I'm a workaholic, I kind of work myself to death, and then I am I'm in bed or I get the flu really badly, and I'm kind of depressed. Let me clarify. I don't stand there and let people give me their work that they should be doing. And in fact, one time this older guy called me and was like, hey, honey, would you just enter that into Salesforce? And I was like, oh my God, you must have mistaken me for some secretary. No, do your own work. So don't take work from somebody that's not your work.
It's more of a less of like, you know what, I'm tired of waiting on them. Puckett, can you get this for me? Or if I
If you're
see it not happening, I hate when I just go ahead and do it because I know it's going to help me in the long run anyway, because I don't want to
Yeah,
wait on you either.
well,
You
that's
know,
the
like,
point. That's your mindset shift, right? When I say stand in the gap, it's because at CACI, I survived 8 rounds of layoffs in the 2012 to 2015-ish kind of range. 8 rounds of layoffs. And that's because I had diversified my skills. And the more diversified, at one point I had 2 full-time jobs and they just didn't backfill me. And they were like, oh, you're doing a great job. I said, but I'm gonna die. I can't keep up. You gotta give this other job to somebody else. And so, but the point is that diversity of skills then also helped me get recruited for a recruiter to the next place, because they were like, wow, this person could do this and this and this and this and this. We could kind of put her anywhere. And when you work in a business that needs people to wear multiple hats, you become more valuable. So I would say change your mindset into you're learning and growing. I'm not saying by any means that you should be taken advantage of. And in fact, I would say if you feel like you're in a situation you're mistreated or taken advantage of, get the hell out of there. And nobody really makes you stay at any place. I mean, financially, yes, we can't just always get up and move, but no one makes you stay in a bad place. Get up and find another one. But it does make you invaluable, and you get to take those skills and abilities and strengths and things you learn with you.
Good.
So that's
good.
that's why I recommend that.
Thanks, Jess.
Sure.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for talking to
Hi.
us.
Sure.
I had a question earlier, and you already answered it. But I made a commitment yesterday that I was going to raise my hand and ask a question, and I was going to ask advice on dealing with imposter syndrome. And you basically answered it as I was thinking it. Don't let fear stop you. Try
Yeah.
something new and help people. And that's just another reminder to me of that I needed to hear now of don't let fear stop you.
Yeah.
So I want to say
Kevin,
thank you.
I 100%, you're welcome. Can't even tell you how many board meetings or executive meetings I've sat in where my boss has been across the table from me, and I just listen to him talk in circles and BS and answer. And I'm actually across the room typing the answer to him. And so I learned, and unfortunately this was at government contracting again, there's a lot of people that don't know the answer. And it's actually okay to say, I respect someone and I try and do this to say, I don't have that answer for you, but you know what? I'm going to go figure it out because now I want to know the right answer and I'll get back to you. And I'd much rather hear anybody say those words to me than make up some BS answer, because you can smell and hear BS a mile away. So imposter syndrome is absolutely real, and I still feel it every single day as a 4-time business owner, a best-selling author, and the other book that's just a kid's book. But the thing is, you can learn. Everything that you need to learn, just go read about it, go learn. The ability to learn, especially now with the internet at our fingertips and YouTube is at our disposal, that you can continue to learn every single day. And I think showing up genuine with hey, I am not the expert at this, or I think I'm about 75% of this, but I'm going to figure out the rest, I think is the answer. But you're sure going to fail if you don't try.
Yeah. Good job, Kev. Jamel.
Hello, how are you?
I'm looking for you. Oh, there you are. Hello.
So
Are
my
you at a
question
grocery
is,
store? What is that you're sitting in?
oh no, so it's the background for
Beans.
cupcakes. I'm opening
God.
a bakery when I retire.
Oh, okay.
Our
I'm
baker.
gluten-free.
Funny that you mentioned that. I made my first gluten-free cookies. I did some apple cinnamon white chocolate cookies, and my gluten people said that they were the best cookies that they've ever had. My gluten-free people. So I was
I'll be
like,
the
okay,
judge of
cool.
that.
So the question that I have, it'll be in San Antonio. The question that I have, I was watching a video yesterday on YouTube where this lady was talking about how she worked in Wells Fargo and was in the finance division or whatever, and then she realized that there's a gap in financial literacy for folks, and so she started teaching financial literacy. Her job told her, "Hey, quit what you're doing, or we're going to terminate you." She terminated her job and went on to do her thing. But then she started talking about grant funding,
Mhm.
and that's one of the, like, I'd rather have grant funding versus having a business loan. And then
Yeah.
even with that, I'd rather have a business line of credit versus having a business loan. But she had
Yep.
talked about two different sites, Grant Watch and Instrumental. Um, I have issues with her now because when I did research on her, it kind of like the common thing was that she was a hack. But the question I wanted to ask you, as someone who's a business owner, had you previously heard of either one of those sites, and what your thoughts were on those sites and whether or not they're worth it, as a supposed to be consolidated space for grants?
Yeah, I absolutely know Grant Watch. I subscribe to it, and I have a person on my team that is always looking for grants that I can qualify for as a female-owned business, a small business. So yeah, it's definitely a source that feeds you. I am not familiar with Instrumental, but you could certainly Google it and look for trust advisor ratings and things like that to see if it's valid. And just Google all the time. Google, and certainly if you're comfortable using one of the large language models, Copilot or ChatGPT or something like that, you could always ask for them too. And there are certain organizations that come out with grants for small business support annually, and so you can reapply every year.
Okay. And then
Definitely go for it. Sometimes you have to pay a small fee to submit, and they put through the application process. Sometimes there is no cost. But why not if it's free money?
and then did at one point in your business, did you have to do the grants yourself? And how involved was that process of applying for a grant?
Um, I'm I'm old, I told you. I'm sure at some point I have done it myself because I didn't always have employees, but I have had employees or interns or something for the better part of the last 25 years, so my memory doesn't go back that far. Um, every grant is different. Sometimes it's basic questions. Sometimes there will be criteria of how long you've been in business, how many employees, diversity, um, location, how much you need, what you're going to use it for. I find the biggest challenge of the grants is if I gave you $50,000, what would you spend it on? I'm like, oh God, where do I begin? There's a lot of places I would spend it on. Um, so that is to me is the hardest part when they ask a little bit more in depth about almost wanting a small business plan or marketing plan or something for that. But again, it's nothing that an AI tool, one of the large language models couldn't
Yeah.
help you draft.
Yeah.
And then
But
you don't want to take AI at 100%. Always write it, rewrite it, add your touch to
Yeah.
it, correct
Yeah.
it, validate it. And if you guys, has anybody told you that dash that comes in the middle of the text? It's called an M dash. It looks like a dash. That's a dead giveaway that AI wrote it. And it loves to use dashes. Claude does not use dashes as much, but ChatGPT definitely does.
Yeah. Ricky,
Thank
go ahead,
you.
bud. Thanks, Jamal.
Hey there, Stephanie. Thank you so
Hi.
much for jumping on this call. This has been absolutely great. I think me and
Oh, Ricky.
you have a the way that you mentor people. I absolutely love hearing about your journeys through owning businesses and building up stuff. I have a very big parallel with sports and business, and I wanted to hear your perspective on that because it seems like it's really shaped you in the way that you've perfected your business strategies and stuff over the years. So, thank you.
Yeah, well, I guess it just gives me a competitive drive. I think I, I'm probably that way when I play rummy cube or backgammon or any pickleball or anything else. I'm just kind of I'm just competitive and I like to win, but because I work so much, I don't have the opportunity to play sports and things like that on a regular basis. So again, I get that adrenaline fix of that win through winning, a proposal or helping a client win or sealing a deal or finishing a project. So I don't know that it's anything that I consciously do. I just know that I get that drive to be successful. And sometimes at work you don't feel it. That's also why I like small business, because in small business I can see the beginning of a process and the end, and I can feel the impact that I make. Whereas when I'm in a bigger company, you're sometimes part of a much larger process and you don't always get to feel and see your impact. And that doesn't feel good for me. That's like, I don't know, what sport did you play?
He's a
I
golfer.
grew up I play hockey, soccer, golf, everything that could have something. So
All right, well, Like, let's just say you swing the golf club and the ball goes into the trees and you never see it come out and you can't find it. You're like, that's frustrating, right? You want to know where it landed. You want to see the impact, even if it was a bad land or bad, what do you call it, bad lie?
Lay,
You
lie or
can,
lay, one of
yeah,
those.
yeah,
Lie, lie.
you can then take action and redirect. But when you see it go into the woods or the pond, you're like, what
Yep.
am I gonna do with that? So
He doesn't hit anyone's in the pond. Not that guy. Not Ricky.
no.
Katie, go ahead.
I did
Last one.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you
Hi.
so much. I really connected to you talking about succeeding with ADHD. My spirit animal is a squirrel, and I am a generalist of all, like I love learning things, but I always learn just enough to improve this project I'm working on for whatever dumpster fire I'm thrown into, and then go to the next one and then learn the skills you need to fix that. So my question is kind of similar to what Jessica talked about, more focused on how or what guidance or tips and tricks do you have when it comes to setting boundaries? Because I also want to do the best, want to make it work, put other people first, and then just burn out and useless to the people that matter in my life too. So do you have any strategies for that and guidance, especially for the squirrels out there?
I am going to tell you what I hear. I've never learned to practice this well. And again, much of my life has been a small business owner. I think that in the corporate space right now, the good news is that the next generation that's coming in really is all about quality of life and balance. And so there's now that this return to office is happening in a lot of places, there is a shift where they're just they there are younger folks that just leave. They're just like, okay, it's fine, but bye. I have almost 24-year-old twins, and they literally, well, one is a nurse, so sure, as shift ends and she walks out, the other ends at 5 and walks out. And I'm like, I have never in my career been able to do that because I always had so much work, I would just keep working. So I think it really is just about discipline and making a decision. I mean, I wouldn't say miss a deadline ever, but there is that phrase, the work is going to be there tomorrow, right? And if it can wait, because I'm ADD, I constantly have to stop, reprioritize what needs to be done right now, today, move on to the next thing and then shift and things move along. And I have this crazy color coded calendar where things get moved around and prioritized all the time. Um, I have found it easier to set, let's say, an appointment that I'm going to go to the gym and meet someone at the gym at 5:30 or something like that, whatever at the end of your shift. So it kind of forces you as a small business owner and a solopreneur. I mean, I have a team of people, but technically the corporate side of me as a solopreneur, I work all the time and I sort of, because I don't have kids at home anymore, my husband works a lot. If I'm not going to go out and play pickleball or whatever, I don't know. I'd rather work than just go out and watch TV or something like that. So I do try and set a thing to say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to meet a friend to walk or whatever it is. So I think setting that discipline to put something else in your life that is not work is very helpful, and then you can make that a routine. It's hard. I have never done it well, so I hope you do it better than me.
We'll see. It has so far no success, but I appreciate it. Thanks.
Good luck.
Good question, Kate. Stephanie, this was so awesome, man. You are amazing. I think you got a lot of new fans today. Gave some
I'm
really
happy
great
I
content.
saw some things coming out. Thanks, Jordy.
Yeah, I
If
didn't look at the
anybody,
chat.
but you can
Anyone?
share my contact information with the team if anybody
Yeah, I threw
needs.
your LinkedIn in there. Connect to Steph.
Perfect.
She's
Nigel, what do you mean? What you are kidding when you say what's gluten, right?
Yes, I'm
What?
kidding. I'm kidding. I know what gluten is.
I was like, what? And sometimes I travel south because my daughter went to University of Kentucky. I would literally like go through West Virginia and I don't know whatever else way we took to get there from Maryland. And I would say, is there anything gluten-free? They'd say, oh yeah, we have vegetables. And I'm like, do you know how hungry I am right now?
Vegetables.
Anyway,
That's too
that's
good.
funny.
Too good. All right. Well, you guys connect with Steph and yeah, take some of that advice she gave. It's all spot on. I was shaking my head yes to everything she was saying because it truly resonated with me as well. So thank you so much, Steph. This was amazing. Appreciate
You
you.
guys I appreciate you, Jordy, and thank you everyone for your service.
All
Very
right,
grateful.
guys, that is a wrap for the day. So just fill out your surveys end of day. We will catch up tomorrow. I'll stay on for 15 minutes if